Endless Monday and Xenoblade X are cancelled. And I'm going to be explaining the reasons why. With Endless Monday, this was a game that was my first indie game to play on this channel, and I was really looking forward to it. I thought that an indie game with all these characters and some neat game mechanics and little interesting segments that it introduces to add to the comedic side of it would be fun. But then I realized as I kept playing, in between those interesting moments, I was putting on a smile that was made for me to show my audience that there was not a moment of me that was waning in looking like I was disinterested in the game at any point, because I thought that would look really bad. That's because the game had moments that were dipping for me, and I did not know if I wanted to show that. And I did not know if I wanted to show me being all critical of something that was my first indie playthrough, where it felt like I wanted to get through multiple endings and keep on playing it. But there was also the thing about the characters and how the story went through. Because for this game, there's a lot of points for me that sympathizing with the characters and just getting to know more about them didn't feel like something I was looking towards, and all of the slow moving dialogue of all these different things that came around with getting the objectives done just felt like it wasn't what I was expecting in an indie game that had creativity with being silly at times and having interesting mechanics that it introduces for special segments. It's hard to explain because it's my first indie game that I'm doing a playthrough of. So that's just something that I feel like had to be mentioned about how I knew that I was not enjoying it as time was going on. I was finding Endless Monday quite boring, honestly, overall. And then I was thinking, as the gameplays went on, that this whole playthrough is becoming a real chore for me and something that I want to end as fast as I could. I wanted to get through it like a deadline project where I could chug through it in a good amount of time and then be able to free myself up for other games to do. But I didn't know how to announce that, since I knew it was what I felt deep inside. But just bringing that to my audience about an indie game felt too different for me to just start doing, since it's my first. And I really expected more interesting creativity out of the game, more engaging moments that help keep me hooked all throughout. But of course, it didn't do that for me. I felt a strong feeling of me losing my grip on holding on to it dearly for what's enjoyable out of it. And that's the thing about it. It just felt like one of these games that did not do it for me. It did not achieve what I wanted it to achieve as a title that keeps me entertained all throughout and actually lets me have a good time. And for Xenoblade X, I started looking up things about the game to see what I could do about strategy and upgrades and all these other things that are introduced in the game. And when I did look up some little things I was wondering about the game, I ended up finding a piece of information of what most people talk about with this game or label it as. And what I found was they said it's not like a straight story kind of game. It's more of a game where the people who play it are used to doing side quests more than anything and getting back to the story at their own pace. And this kind of game was something that I thought was a straight story game I could go through, where I felt like the content in it does not linger for too long, where I'm able to get back into the action after some time and keep it consistent. But on one hand, with it being an RPG, it felt like I was stressing myself out of the time in between gameplay parts, episodes, and what I could do with the amount of time taken to get to next, and if people were really looking forward to it, what I would provide with going to the next and the next. But it was becoming longer across a few months. And that was the same thing with MS Monday, but it was bigger with Xenoblade X. The feeling of being stressed that I could not have a lot of time to grind in the RPG for my party level, and also moving along in the story enough to make consistent gameplay parts that weren't too spread out in uploads between each other. Just felt like the upload rate was the thing that was really stressing me, first and foremost. And when I thought about what else was going on with the story and what I had to do to boost my characters, I realized that this game has a huge amount of options for you to do with like things that other Zelda games don't do, with all the customization and different things you can apply with weapons, upgrades, and many things that are done to be bought in the game, but also things like the mining materials kind of system that they also introduced. And then there was also a thing I heard about that once you get scales, you do end up having to manage them too, fix them and repair them, things like that, that also get introduced. And when I heard about all that information about what actually gets done when researching more about the game from other users, like places like Reddit, I realized I'm cramming too much into my head with one game that I can't handle. And that happens with a lot of people. If certain games do introduce systems and mechanics and things that are very manageable, that seem so broad that you can't feel like you can focus on them when you're playing other games at the same time, I don't want to be forgetful, and I don't think I can do this. That's what I thought of right then and there after taking all that in. And then I thought about how there was an objective to be completed, but I only wanted that so that I could film myself getting through a game where my reaction at the end is like solidified and, able to be up there with other people who finish playthroughs and have speeches or other things to say at the end that helps show that, putting it all on a playlist is very solid. So what I'm thinking about now is that these games are probably going to be taken out of their own playlists. They're not going to have playlists anymore because I would not want to make playlists of playthroughs that are incomplete. It just does not feel right for me to make a playlist of something that is unfinished and would not be finished, because that doesn't seem reasonable for what I provide here on the channel in playlists for everybody to watch and complete, basically finish altogether. So what goes on from here? What do we do from here? From here, I already started thinking about and considering what I'll pick up for my next playthroughs. And whatever you're going to see of uploads of the first parts of these new playthroughs on the channel are going to be from games that I picked up, I enjoyed, and see myself enjoying furthermore to be able to make it a full playthrough from the first part, from how it hooks me in from the start, how it grabs my attention, and how I can see myself enjoying it all the way to the end. So anything from my lineup of games that I do not enjoy is not going to be added to these uploads. And maybe I'll even talk about games that I dropped in another video of explaining what they were, what I did pick up, and what I did not like in some games for me to say that this ain't it and I'm not using this. Because maybe you guys would like to see that. You never know how we're going to succeed in going forward on this channel about who likes to see me play different genres and different things that I use, because sometimes I'm experimenting with different styles. Some games I haven't ever tried before of the genres and the playstyles that they have. So it's always fun to see what comes from these things, but the good thing is I'm learning as I go, and I know that what I'm going to be putting out is stuff that I feel confident this time going forward about what I see in it. Even though these last games did take time to give me a perspective on them, after playing them for some time. Going forward, I think that I'm only going to get all I need from the first parts of some of these games, but you never know. Some games introduce things in the halfway point, maybe even closer to the end, that feel like systems and things that just are bogus to introduce and change stuff up. But we'll see where we're headed. We'll see what's up ahead for us here with playthroughs on ACN, and I'm really gonna enjoy being able to have a fresh face for what we play next. So thank you all for enjoying this video. Thank you all for understanding what I put in this and what I want to do with what I play next. And I really hope that we are all going to have some great new memories in store for these next games that go forward. If you want to see me play anything specific, you can let me know, give me recommendations in the comments. I will definitely listen to you guys and take in the feedback of what you're interested in. But until the next one and until the next playthrough, ACN, we out.